Hey, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to another episode of Shipyard with your good buddy STARJUMP Grim. Nice to see everybody piling into chat. It is a Sunday night. For those of you who have been watching the streams over the past, few months here pretty regularly, you'll know that I started kind of doing this Sunday night stream. My schedule has been shifting a little bit, so everyone, I hope you can bear with me as I wait to get that schedule a little bit more solid. The holiday months obviously make that a little bit more complicated, but oh 07 to everybody in chat. Nice to see you all. A lot of stuff to talk about tonight. I'm going to jump right into my top of show announcements. First and foremost, and we'll do a proper introduction to him here in a minute. But my guest host tonight is Trispone, and the reason Trist is on here with me is because we're talking the RSI Galaxy. And for those that have not checked out Trist's channel, he's got a lot of great Galaxy content. So Trist, thanks for hanging out with me a bit tonight. We don't know if Trist will be on the entire episode, but he's here. He's going to talk, lend us his knowledge on this pretty cool ship that is coming next year. And, you know, we may tangent a little bit here, but we'll have him for the time we have him. So, Trist, thanks for hanging out for a bit, buddy.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Finally.
Finally. Oh, actually, I did notice I got the visualizer on. I need to, try talking, Trist. I want to see if the visualizer works.
Does it work?
It works.
Oh,
Okay,
that's something,
cool.
yeah.
Perfect. But real quick, we like always, everybody, we do have some top of show announcements we want to get to, and I'm going to do that now. Okay, first and foremost, do not forget, we have as a matter of fact, let me switch over to that now. I do have a Drake Golem giveaway going on right now. So make sure you get in on that if you can. There is a Gleam link. I've been doing that through Gleam. It's just a little bit more convenient, and it helps me propagate other videos of mine. So make sure you go to the Gleam link. I'm posting that down in chat right now. So go check that link out. It's free to enter. There's a couple quick ways you can do to enter the giveaway. I'm going to give away that ship on Tuesday. Okay, on the Tuesday stream, which is all about the Ironclad. We're going to sort of deep dive that. I'm sure we're going to have multiple Galaxy and Ironclad focused episodes this going into 2026 because those are the two big ships next year. So yeah, we'll give this ship away. This ship is courtesy of CIG. It is a starter package, so it does come with a game package, comes with LTI, and of course the Golem ship. I may throw in a paint. We'll see. I got to look through the backlog of stuff I have on me. And then, of course, everyone hang out for a bit. I may start another giveaway here momentarily. I was trying to think about what I should give away, and I think what I'm going to give away tonight is another patch bundle. So tonight we'll be giving away a downburst patch bundle. So for any of you who like to run around in the Corsair, this is an awesome, I'm just going to rearrange my window here. Bear with me, everybody. This is an awesome patch bundle because it has a really, really cool paint in it. So again, if you're a Corsair lover, you may enjoy this one. I will probably do that giveaway through Stream Elements and YouTube Random Comment Picker. So give me a short bit to get that set up. I'll do that here while we're talking, and then I'll let you all know when it is running, okay? But yes, giving away Drake Golem on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday. Follow the Gleam link that I posted in order to enter. Okay, once again, that Gleam link is in chat. And then tonight, we're going to give away a downburst patch bundle featuring this armor, that weapon, and that paint. There you go. Also, last but not least, I'll do a deeper dive on these two sponsors when we get further into the show. I'm starting to move that more towards the middle and into the show now instead of the beginning. But again, make sure you go to iconcity.uk or iconcity.com. That's their web address. Use the code STARJUMP for a discount on Star Citizen icon packs and stream icon packs and all that kind of stuff. They have icon packs for tons of games. Make sure you go to Icon City. And then, of course, Pigeon Spaceport. We're going to be getting one of these to review very, very soon, but you can use the STARJUMP code there as well to get a discount. I'll post both of those links down in chat right now. Again, I'll deep dive those in more depth here about midways through the show, okay? So go to both their websites, check out what they have. Really, really cool stuff on the Icon, the Stream Deck side of things. Really great icon packs for like a ton of games. And then on Pigeon Spaceport, they do have the really awesome Scorpius model. that they sell. Again, you can use the STARJUMP code over there and get a discount. They have it in like 3 different paints. Pretty cool. Okay. But we are here today, all those top of show announcements, to talk about the RSI Galaxy. And of course, I have my buddy here, Trist Pone, on with me now. Trist, for those that don't know him, Trist has an awesome YouTube channel. As a matter of fact, I did not have that ready, but I'm going to get it ready right now. And we'll hit you with the Trist Pone YouTube channel link, which is right here. Posted that in the chat. Make sure you go to his channel, give him a follow if you haven't already. He does really awesome content. Lately, he's been modeling the entirety of the Ironclad, which is pretty awesome. But earlier this year, or was it either earlier this year or was it last year, Trist? You did the Galaxy. You modeled the Galaxy, right?
I would say the 2 last years before this one.
Okay. 2 last years
I think
before
I
this
started with
one.
22.
You modeled out the Galaxy, you did an interior kind of build, and then you built out some of the modules. And we have those videos. We're going to look at those. Essentially tonight, everybody, we're just going to saturate, deep dive the RSI Galaxy. Okay, so we're going to look at the ship page. We're going to look at the CIG Q&A. We might watch a little bit of that Inside Star Citizen. We're going to check out Trist's videos on it, and we may have those muted while we just sort of talk over them. Either way, it's going to be all about the Galaxy tonight. Jenny Tonic real quick says, have you applied for partner yet, STARJUMP? I haven't heard back yet. We'll see. You've all been killing it though on showing up and hanging out, so I do appreciate that. Let's see here. Yeah, and actually real quick, I'm going to Trist, I am going to send you an invite link to Piggle's Starstream Discord, which will allow you to read along on the questions if you so choose to do so. You don't have to, but if you want to. But yes, Question Bot is running tonight, everyone. So you can just do the word question. It will pick it up. We'll get to questions a little bit later on. I would say you can ask anything, but I would try to frame your questions around either the RSI Galaxy, the Ironclad, or just RSI ships in general. Yes, I know the Ironclad's a Drake ship, but it is coming up next year, and we're going to talk about it next show. So Galaxy, RSI ships, and just kind of keeping it on theme tonight. It's not that you can't ask a question outside of that, but we'll just try to keep it as focused as possible. Sometimes, due to time, I have to kind of cherry pick questions. So I'll probably try to cherry pick questions that are Galaxy or RSI related. So yes, we're going to talk about all things Galaxy. Okay, so if you're a fan of that ship, that's what we're doing tonight. Before we do that, I got 2 more things I want to talk about real quick. Okay, and this won't take much of people's time. First one is we're going to switch right over here to hangar.link or starjumpfleetviewer.com. Hopefully you know that website. It's a big day. We got up the rest of the ships from IAE. It was a long time coming. I will pop this over here. These are all the ships that were added in the latest push to Fleet Viewer. They are live. We've got the new Perseus. Yes, we had the Perseus in there previously, but it was the hollow model. Now is the flight ready model. We have the Salvation. We have the MDC, the L-22 Alpha Wolf, the Clipper, the Galamox. We also updated the Zeus CO and the Zeus ES. I've had a lot of people message me asking what is new about them. Weren't they all already in Fleet Viewer? Yes, they were, but they were the hollow models, and we like to update them to flight ready models when we can. VMXEO pushed those out. In addition, and you all will have to test it, but we do have the Heartseeker Mark II in there now. I'm hoping if you have the Heartseeker Mark II kit that it will spawn for you when you transfer from Hangar Link to Fleet Viewer. Let us know if it doesn't. If it doesn't, we'll fix that. I've also heard of some reports of the L-22 Alpha Wolf not transferring from Hangar Link into Fleet Viewer. That's going to be fixed too. So may still be some issues. It's a lot of ships to push, but everything is in Fleet Viewer now. So if you have been waiting for those, they are live.
Can I ask a live question?
Sure.
A Fleet Viewer question. I use them sometimes, as you might know. Is there a way to download them on a transparent background?
Yes, there is. There is. If you go to Fleet Viewer and you're in there, you can go to canvas settings right here, and you can go to no background image. It's one of the options here. You can go to no background image and just turn the transparency to 0, which I don't think you have to do it when you're on no background image. But as long as you set those correctly, and then you add a ship, when you go to generate image, the PNG that it exports will have an alpha channel on it, so it'll have a
Amazing.
transparent background. Yeah, and then obviously with you, Trist, if you ever need imagery of the ships without going through all that crap, I will hand it to you. It's not a problem.
I honestly always keep them from green.
But everyone, VMXEO is in chat right now. I saw him pop up, and I want to take this moment again. If you are a Fleet Viewer fan and you appreciate the work and effort that both Starlet and VMXEO has done to get those ships in there, make sure you go over to this coffee link of VMXEO's. Throw the boy a little donation for his hard work. He does a lot of great stuff to keep Fleet Viewer alive. All right, we just had something happen, right? Captain Kern gave out 5 community gift subs. Captain Kern, giving you the double salute, my friend. Thank you very much for that. Really appreciate that support. Absolutely incredible. Do appreciate the follows and the subscriptions, everyone. Really, really appreciate that. The community's been going strong. We are very, very close to partner, by the way. We're already qualified. We just, sometimes you have to go through the hoops a few times. But 118 watching on Twitch, and I don't even know how many watching on 154 watching on YouTube. So thank you all for hanging out tonight. Before we talk about the Galaxy, one quick thing we're going to spend just a few minutes on. It's the thing that everyone's talking about, so we've got to mention it too. VR in Star Citizen. This is another great reason why Trist is on, because Trist has done some VR testing. I finally got to do some more substantial testing of it today. And I want to get your thoughts on it, Trist, real quick. But here's what I will say regarding VR. It is an intense, like, fully new type of way of viewing Star Citizen. Like, and I know that sounds obvious in terms of VR, but it actually made me feel like I was inside my ship, surrounded by this world. The scale of things changes in really, really interesting ways. I know, Trist, you had posted the other day that ships sort of felt smaller, and I had posted that ships felt bigger, but that actually wasn't totally true. When I did more extensive testing today, I noticed an interesting thing. Some things felt bigger, like being in the engineering section of the RSI Polaris. It felt huge. It felt like I was in this massive engineering room, right? But going on the bridge of some ships, like I went on the bridge of the Corsair, and it actually felt really small. And so did the MFDs, like the dashboard, but small in a really tangible, realistic sense. It's hard to put into words what the experience is like. So I'm gonna hand it over to maybe someone who could speak a little bit better on it. I know you just did a video on it, and everyone should go watch that. But Trist, what was your thoughts on the initial implementation of VR in Star Citizen?
Let's stick with that scale thing for a second,
Yeah.
because you just mentioned it. What you just said is very subjectively, right?
Yeah, it's subjective. Yeah.
But my issue, I said everything was small, and that's not subjectively. If I stand in front of people, I had the feelings that their heads were. People and heads are something that we know how big it is, and I would say their heads were closer to like a grapefruit than an actual head.
Oh,
so
interesting.
Something was really off. Yeah, but people commented on my video. I did not know that, but the pupil distance makes an incredible difference to that, and I did not change the settings. I didn't know the impact was that big. So it has to do with the pupil distance, and you can set that in the settings. I didn't do that. Might be my fault. I have not tested that since. So maybe that is just why this was a bit off for me.
Well, I didn't mess with any of those settings either. So now I'm really curious what mine were. It was funny. I didn't look at like other people's heads. I was just playing with my solo, but it was a really interesting. I kept wanting to like spawn different ships to see what that felt like.
Yes.
Like the Polaris bridge, for example, feels amazing in VR. Like you feel like you were on a living, breathing ship bridge. The Corsair felt different. It felt like it felt almost like it felt like the same Corsair, but it almost felt more detailed. I couldn't really describe it. I don't know if it has something to do with, just the Drake aesthetic or whatever, but all those little details that are in the Drake interiors really came to life in VR. I know that VMXEO, who's in chat, was sort of saying the same thing. And it may just, again, be a
Mm,
visual complexity thing, but it was quite shocking, actually. And flying a
yeah.
ship when you're doing VR actually felt really good. I was shocked at how good it felt flying ships.
Was it
Um,
your first game then, or flight game, or generally VR game?
you know, not my. I've played VR games. I'll be honest with you. I don't think I have played a flight VR game yet. So I would
Okay.
probably say it was my first of that. Now I have done a lot of track IR, essentially, which is a different version of Tobii eye tracker. I've done a lot of track IR, which I know is not VR, but it does have the 6 degrees of freedom with head movement. So I've done a lot of helicopter flying in Arma and other games with that system. So I am very used to that kind of being able to look all around thing. Um, but this was, I think, you're probably right. This is probably my first true flight full VR experience, and it was awesome.
Okay, so I played Star Wars Squadrons throughout the whole campaign and stuff when that came out. So I have some, I don't know, at least 10-ish hours in specifically cockpits, and that is, that feeling was not completely new to me.
Yeah.
That said, obviously, it was on a different level detail-wise, and what you just said about the ships, I don't
Wi-
think I have seen any VR application that comes close to that. Not even the ones like Half-Life Alyx that is specifically designed for that. Nothing has this kind of detail. That's just new.
Yeah. Yeah. We've heard off and on about VR over the years. We've even heard about it in more official, you know, uh, shows like ISC and stuff like that, where the devs have always reminded us that, oh, well, VR is not our focus right now. Everything is being built for that compatibility. One of the things most recently mentioned was the UX and just general inventory, management. I think when they introduced that new looting system, they referenced VR as well again at that time.
Mm.
Not necessarily to say, hey, it works in VR, but just more saying that, hey, we're building everything to essentially work in VR, without much changes.
Yeah,
So,
but I
yeah,
didn't believe it. I mean,
yeah,
sure they thought about it, but I was shocked how good, for example, the Mobi Glass works in VR.
yeah, yeah. I was too. I was too. The only issue I had was some general problems with the visor UX. I don't know if it was just a wrong setting I had, but all that was like constrained to like my center view, like really in the middle of my view. I couldn't like spread things out. I want the ability to like move some of that visor UI and
Oh, you
spread
have.
it out.
You can control all of that in the VR settings.
Oh, perfect. I didn't even know that.
You can
Now I know.
control how close the visor is to your face. That is really helpful because
Mm,
everything was super close to me. And
hmm.
then also the width, and you can spread that out as far as you want. There's a lot of control about. That's pretty much the only thing you can control, but
Okay.
that you can control.
Okay, cool. See, I
I
didn't even
had
check the
I had
VR
more issues.
settings. So,
I had more issues with the stuff that I couldn't disable. There were markers that were just there that I didn't want.
yeah.
That but stuff that wouldn't usually be there. For example, when I tried to quantum travel, I saw all markers available, not even the ones. Basically, I saw 3 times the amount of markers you would usually have. There were just stuff there that usually should not be there. It was a bit overwhelming.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. While I'm setting this other giveaway up, what do you think needs to be fixed in the short term to make it truly viable?
Most importantly, the inventory,
Hmm.
because that is just doesn't work for me.
Inventory, like, yeah,
Mm,
okay, I know what you're saying. Yeah,
for me, I don't know if it was just me, but my inventory, all items were stacked on top of each other. It was impossible to use. I just had to switch back.
gotcha. Okay,
Um, Otherwise, I don't think there's anything that absolutely needs to be fixed. For me, most stuff worked, and the option to toggle to 2D within a second,
hmm,
helps doing basically everything. If I could choose one thing that I would like improved, it would be first person combat. I had some comments that there are some options to improve it, like you definitely need a laser pointer now that you normally don't need because you have a crosshair.
Right.
But I still think first person is the area where it would benefit the most from some improvements. Flying is already pretty good.
Flying felt great. Yeah, flying felt
Mm.
great. I was amazed at how like intuitive it felt right out the gate. I was pretty shocked. Like I even took off. I think I was in the Corsair, and I was just flying around buildings in New Babbage at a pretty high rate of speed, and it just
Mm.
felt good. Again, I did not go in. I did not alter settings, but it just felt good. You know what I mean? Which I think is what it should feel like. I'm sure with setting adjustments, I could have got it even more
Oh,
locked in. So
actually, that is something I don't think you can change the settings much at the moment. I'm not sure.
okay,
I didn't spend that much time too, but I think all the graphic settings, there's some locked preset because I said it in my video, the object detail, for example, gets always set to low or something like low. And same for the textures. I don't think that any of the settings that you do will change anything. There's a fixed VR setting currently, and you just have to live with that.
okay.
Um, I have a question though. Did you play with upscaling? Did you try it? Because it was they said Sylvan said it is recommended to use upscaling.
I did do the upscaling. I can't remember which version that I had. It first was on like the neural whatever, and that one I had some weird artifacting. I turned it off,
Mhm.
and I went to God. I forget which the other one I went to, and it was better. About after 30 minutes of being in game, I was starting to get some like weird like visual hiccups. I don't know if that had to do with the settings that I was running or the upscaling settings or the any of that stuff, but I did notice some big differences when I was cycling between some of the upscaling settings, just in terms of visual quality.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't know, but for me, I just
There-
like you said, I noticed artifacts and stuff, and every single the CRG upscaler looked better than NVIDIA,
yeah.
which usually is not the case for me. And I usually always play with I don't mind upscaling usually. I always play with it just to have my card run a little lower.
Yeah.
But for this, the quality is, for me, I felt it was drastically reduced. So I always played without upscaling just
Yeah.
so it looks sharp and crispy. Or maybe I would like some more options with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, I mean, again, I am excited to see where this goes. I know this is not the main topic of tonight. We just wanted to talk about it briefly. But for those of you that do have VR headsets, I would say it's worth the trouble, the little bit of trouble there is to sort of get set up to do it. There's plenty of videos out there, by the way, that will show you how to get connected if you've never done that before. It
Mm,
is an experience, and again, it is like seeing Star Citizen in a whole new light. So I
yeah.
would recommend doing it, going through that trouble. So
And what I would add is I expected an hour to set it up, and it was working literally within 5 minutes.
yeah.
And that
Uh,
includes my loading time. So there was no setup time at all. It was just working.
well, I'll even go a step further with that, Trist. I've never even attempted Star Citizen in VR. The only VR games I've played are like with my daughter, like just the games right on the Meta Quest like app screen. So I've done no like connect. I never even connected it to my computer, and I was able to get it running in about 15 minutes. So it's very easy to set up, even if it's something you've never really done before. Like if you just have a VR headset laying around and you've never gone through the effort of trying to like play a game off your computer or anything, it really did not take much effort or know-how. So, um, and like Tris said, if you're savvy with it, if it's something you've done before, it's probably 5 minutes and you're up and running. Um, Okay, real quick, everyone. Thank you for the subscriptions and follows. By the way, I saw a few of those come in. Tim Mayer over on YouTube. Thank you for those follows or subscription. We do appreciate that. Okay, everyone. We do have that giveaway set up. So we are going to be giving away a Downburst patch bundle tonight. This is the Corsair skin. I think the best Corsair skin, actually. I kind of want to add this on the Fleet Viewer. Really cool set of armor and awesome Volt gun. So how do you get in on that? Well, if you're over on Twitch, all you got to do is do exclamation ticket or exclamation ticket space max, and you will get tickets into that giveaway. If you're over on YouTube, very, very simple. All you need to go is to the video pinned to the top of chat. There's a link pinned to top of chat. Just go to that video. That is for episode 3, I believe, of my new player guide. Just leave a comment on that video. It can just be a single word if you want. Just leave a comment. I'll pull a random comment from there. I'll pull the winner from the Stream Elements giveaway. We'll put you in the random wheel of names. We'll spin it. Whoever wins will get the Downburst patch bundle tonight. And again, don't forget, follow the Gleam link that I posted earlier, which I'll post it again if you want to get in on the Golem starter package that we will give away on Tuesday. Okay, there we go. All right, let's get back into our main topic tonight. That is the RSI Galaxy. All right, what is the Galaxy? Let's start even earlier than this. Why are we talking about the Galaxy? We're talking about the Galaxy because it was mentioned recently during IAE on a show with John Crew, Ben Curtis, and Mark Gibson that the RSI Galaxy will be the big marquee ship coming out at IAE 2026. Okay, so next year, around this time, those of you that are interested in this ship will be flying this ship. Okay, this is a large ship. We're going to get into all the specs of it. When I say marquee ship, I don't mean it's more important than others. I just mean that it's going to be a ship that appeals to a lot of people. It's kind of a large ship, and it's going to kind of occupy a lot of the marketing materials and stuff for the event, most likely. Another ship that will be doing that next year will be the Ironclad with Invictus or DefenseCon. I think Trist is another person who may have a thing to say or two, on the Ironclad, since he's doing a lot of spotlight stuff with that ship on his channel. But again, tonight, mostly talking about the Galaxy. So what is the Galaxy? The Galaxy is a large, modular, multi-role ship by RSI, okay, Roberts Space Industry. That's the manufacturer. It's focused on versatility, and you'll see that through the modules that come that you're able to purchase with the ship. And it sort of leans into the, I guess you would call it, commercial / industrial gameplay loops in Star Citizen. Okay, so unlike the Perseus or the Polaris, instead of leaning into combat-related, roles, this ship is primarily leaning towards commercial / industry roles. When I say commercial, by the way, I mean more like commercial hauling, right? So freight, and then. From a module standpoint, there's 3 currently known modules with a 4th kind of known. We have the medical module, the cargo module, and the refinery module. And we do know of a base building / crafting module. We don't have a lot of details on that yet. But anyways, that is kind of the base rundown of the ship. It has some other really cool features, such as a little hangar to land ships in the back, like a backloading hangar. It's got the sort of top spinal mounted mid-mount or kind of mid-forward mounted bridge, which is kind of unique that we've seen in ships like the Perseus and stuff. It's got that arrowhead or diamond Dorito shape, whatever you want to call it, RSI shape language, which appeals to a lot of people as well. So that being said, it's a popular ship. It's one that I said even recently that I didn't think CIG was going to go back to for a while. I thought they were going to pause RSI ships after the Perseus, and they were going to move on to other manufacturers. Well, obviously I was wrong. I'm not always right, of course. The reason I think, though, that they went into the Galaxy is it just made sense. And Trist, I'll kind of hand it over to you now for a minute. I know you just recently took a look at the interior of the Perseus again. I mean, I think there's just a lot that can just easily translate over to the Galaxy. So it really is kind of a no-brainer for them to get this ship done. I mean, would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I looked at it specifically for that because when the Polaris came out, I walked around looking for clues to the Galaxy, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like assets that I would reuse if I would build it. I didn't really see anything. For the Perseus, there's so much, just like tiny stuff, like these 6-sided corridors, the doors. There's so much stuff that I felt that I've had in my hands when rebuilding it. The the floors of the elevators. There's so much elements that I see could translate one-to-one to the Galaxy concept. And I
Mhm.
also saw some in the Apollo.
Yeah.
The medical Apollo looks ripped out of the medical section of the Galaxy. So I'm pretty sure we see a lot of models, assets reused there, and I think that's a good thing to
Yeah, I
make
mean
it
that's
possible this year.
that is a great point. That the a lot of times we'll talk about the Perseus as like a point of reference just because it's the newest and newest large ship from CIG. But you really have to look at the manufacturer across multiple scales and multiple ships. So, like you mentioned, the Apollo, there could be all the way up to the Polaris. We could see little parts and pieces filter their way into the Galaxy. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, that's and I think we'll see the same, the same thinking there is going to happen with the Ironclad and the Kraken and what have you, the Drake ships, which we'll focus on next episodes,
Maybe even
where
more.
yeah, even probably even more, where yeah, they're for the Ironclad, they're not just going to be pulling from one ship. They're not just pulling pieces from the Corsair. They're pulling pieces probably from the Cutter, from the Caterpillar, from all over the place.
Mm.
And then when the Kraken goes in development, it'll pull heavily from, the Ironclad and every other ship under Drake's line. So let me ask you this. Why do you think people are excited about the Galaxy? You focused on the ship quite a bit in your content. You had a number of episodes and live streams where you talked about the Galaxy. What do you think is the appeal of this ship?
I still don't 100% know why it's that loved, but just to put it into context, it is by far the most successful thing I've done. The first Galaxy video has, I just checked before, 140,000 views.
It's
That
incredible.
is more than our Kraken video did. And
Yeah.
I always thought the Kraken is the big thing, but if I look at my numbers, this is even more interesting. And
Yeah.
I guess my explanation is that not, I would even say most of the players don't need those big military ships. They're interesting and stuff, but I think most Star Citizen players like the calmer gameplay loops and look forward to that ship that they call home more than
Mm-hmm.
just Battlefield. And I guess the Galaxy combines a lot of those things. The Galaxy lets you try out a lot of different gameplay loops, if not at the same depth as other ones, but it gives you a variety of options. And I just think that appeals to a lot of people, in addition to the visual style of a warship, because it looks pretty cool compared to other,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
industrial ships.
it's a great point. I think, you brought up the Kraken. The Kraken to me is probably the most popular of the large capitals, primarily. Yes, I think it looks cool, and I think the Galaxy looks cool too. But I think the Kraken just has a generalist appeal. There's people that like it from a combat
Mm.
standpoint, people that like it from a industrial standpoint. It just appeals to a lot of player sets. And the Galaxy is going to do that too, just through the fact that it's a modular ship. And the fact that it's a cool looking modular ship that can play into a bunch of different gameplay loops is just it's you start getting check marks. You start kind of losing out on like the disadvantages of owning this ship, and you can only see advantages at that point. And I guess that's why some of these ships stand out as just like crowd favorites, right? It's
Yeah,
not so much one particular feature; it's that they have a bunch of features that can apply to the widest possible player base, right?
yeah,
One interesting fact too, since we brought up the Ironclad, we brought up the Kraken in this talk so far, is that this the Galaxy was designed by Gavin Rothery, which is a freelance ship designer that works for CIG quite a bit. He's also a film director. He's directed some awesome movies. You should go check him out. We had Gavin on the show a couple of years back. Super awesome dude. He even came and spoke at my company for to the younger artists, which was really nice of him. But Gavin designed the Galaxy, also designed the Kraken, designed the Ironclad, etc. So, yeah, let's go ahead and talk specifics, about this ship, and maybe we'll answer a few questions here. Now, obviously, I've got the Galaxy class video here playing, but I'm going to pause that for a minute and go over to some imagery that we can pull up, some more official imagery. And again, everyone, make sure you go to Trist's channel. We're going to show some of his videos here in a bit. They'll be playing in the background at various times. But I wanted to go ahead and talk about a few things. So let me bring up the images here. We're just going to start cycling through some of these. Let me get my window up here.
While you
Yeah.
cycle, I saw a lot of comments saying that the Kraken is a home too. And I think another point is that the Kraken is for a lot of people maybe out of reach just because it's incredibly expensive. And the Galaxy might be on that very edge of what a bigger portion of people would be willing to spend.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, even, and that's sort of why I said the Galaxy is the most popular capital size ship. Um,
Hmm.
and what I more meant by capital is price range. Like in those stupidly expensive ships, the Kraken's super popular, in my opinion, because you're getting kind of a lot of flexibility for your money, right? And on the flip side, when you look at the Galaxy, I mean, just looking at my notes over here, the Galaxy war bond price is $350, and the standalone credit price is $380. That is a steal for the ship you're getting when you compare it to what other ships cost. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, you're getting quite a bit of ship for your money. I'm always a fan of that. So that actually kind of leads us to an interesting place. And I didn't think about this. I don't believe the Galaxy is sold at Invictus because it's not a military ship. So I almost wonder if this past IAE was the last chance to get get the Galaxy at its current pledge price.
Mm. But usually they announce that, right?
They usually
They just
do.
did that for the Hull B.
Yeah, they usually do. And I didn't think about that, but I'm trying to think of any other opportunities next year to purchase the Galaxy, and I can't think of any, with the exception, with the exception that there could be a month where they release a patch that is maybe industrial focused or something, and it's possible with whatever ships they have on offer that day, they could open Galaxy uh, purchases up again. I believe that's happened once or twice, but it's super rare. But it's not the same time. Or it's not to say that they won't do it.
Or they could
Oh,
open it at
Bunkerfist says
CitizenCon.
sitcon. Yes, that's right. Well, yep,
Yeah.
Bunker's right. Sitcon. Yep. But here's the thing with that. That it's not to say CIG won't raise the price for sitcon. It may not be the flight ready price, but they may try to
Agree.
close that gap a little bit. So you could be right, Bunker. But you also could be wrong. It could be the last time we could have got it for this price. Maybe sitcon it goes up a little bit. I mean, it would make sense if the ship, for example, is going to jump quite a bit at IAE, which is just a month later. It would make sense that the sitcon price is kind of a little higher. Um, so yeah,
I mean, there could be another big event next year where they just let you buy whatever you want.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Um,
Like, for example, I don't know, Squadron release.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you bring up a great point. Maybe Squadrons
If
release
I would
next
bring
year.
out Squadrons, I would open the shop and would put every
100%.
ship in there just for, yeah, just
Yeah,
for.
100%. Sort of just to celebrate and to get people re-engaged. Yeah, I could 100% see that. I think that's a great point. Um, so we'll have some imagery up here, everybody. Wanted to focus on just the exterior of the ship here. I love the exterior. It has a modular room system, and we're going to deep dive those modules here. Some of those
Mhm.
modular rooms have an access port underneath the ship. I think either in terms of like an elevator or in terms of like resource or cargo transfer. Here in this image here, you see the ship interacting with Prospector, and you can see the Prospector bags moving up and connecting with the refinery module, most likely. Moving along here, they're just showing
There's
the.
a there's a
Yeah, go
specific
ahead.
there's a specific system or machinery on the bottom that they don't get tractor beamed in. There's something on the bottom that directly connects to the saddlebags. But
Mm,
back then they said specifically for the Prospector. They didn't mention any other ship. I don't think that will stay, but you don't have to even get the saddlebags inside.
mm.
That's special, I guess.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I'd like this.
So
I'm
what you see there
super
is not that's not an opening. There's not a I'm not even sure if this module has a lift.
interesting. Well, you know what? On this next image right here, we see an an Ursa underneath with a main elevator in that section. Now, this could be the cargo
That's
module
the
or
cargo
the
one, though.
medical
Yeah,
module.
that's
Yeah.
the cargo.
We also see an elevator right here to gain access to the ship. But again, it's not to say these won't change, everyone. We know CIG makes changes to these ships as they go through their production phase. But another interesting image here, we're seeing some of the interiors here. Now, one thing to note about interiors of RSI ships, and this really started with the Polaris's production. One of the things Gavin Rothery brought up multiple times in some of those early white box concept phase of the Polaris videos that they came out with when the ship went into active production was that CIG was really sort of trying to figure out those interior spaces, how the walls looked and felt, how door openings were. So some of this concept art is outdated, but what you can see when you look at this is you can see the vibe of like the Perseus here and how that can
Hmm.
directly come over without too much of an issue. Um, I am picturing though in the Galaxy, I don't know if you would agree with this or not, Tris, but I am picturing a ship with a bit more, and this may be stating the obvious, but a bit more luxury than the Perseus and Polaris. I'm thinking there's probably going to be a little bit warmer lighting throughout, probably a little bit
Yes.
more comfort through plant life that we see here and whatnot. Again, this is a civilian ship meant for civilian industrial purposes.
Yeah, one point for that is that
Yep.
everyone has his own room that
Mm-hmm.
is different to the both of those warships.
Right.
And specifically plants, people commented under my videos. Now after the Perseus, this one definitely needs one of those plant walls in the kitchen.
Yes.
And yeah,
Yes. If first
the
off, if the
windows do make it
Perseus,
very luxury.
yeah, that's true. And if the Perseus has plants, then this ship has to have
Mm.
plants just from from that standpoint. Again, everyone, thank you for the follows tonight. Really appreciate it. We got a great crowd tonight, by the way. 190 on Twitch and 264 on YouTube. Appreciate the amazing
Nice.
community. I guess a lot of people want to talk about the Galaxy. Um, we're looking at the bridge image here, and I wanted to pause on this because I talked a lot about this in one of my previous videos where one of the big things I was disappointed with on the Perseus, and there's not many because I do think CIG did a stellar job on the Perseus. But one of the things that I kind of hated was that the big consoles on the bridge didn't come into the Perseus like they were in the Perseus's original concept art. You can see
Mm.
that same type of large bridge console thing here with the Galaxy. You can see these large consoles. I can promise you this ship will probably not have these. If I had to guess, it's going to be very similar to the Perseus and the Polaris. It's going to be a lot more of those like glass panel displays. Um, would you agree with that, Trist? I mean,
I
I'm just
do, I
thinking they've
do.
moved away from this.
Yes, this was building this path was super tricky because everything is so thick and there's so little space to move around.
Yeah.
I always felt that this. I think they maybe keep the elevations and the platforms, the general layout.
Mm-hmm.
That works really well, especially that you can walk in front of um, the pilot there. There's enough space for people to stand in front of that and look out.
Yeah.
That I assume they keep, but yeah, it will get a lot sleeker and less blocky. This is very thick.
Yeah, and here's my thing. This probably is even too thick. I would agree with that. I mean, this guy almost looks like he's getting lost over here within this
Mm.
console space. Um, the important thing about the bridge of a ship is not necessarily, and I say sometimes I'm disappointed. Oh, the Perseus lost its big honking consoles. The issue, though, is not that it had those. The issue is that when I walk onto the bridge of the ship, and I do think they did this well for the Perseus. Do not read me wrong, everyone, is that when you walk onto the bridge of these ships, I want that to be a special moment, right? Like a grand moment. When you walk out on them, they feel good. You feel like you're in the most important part of the ship, right? That's, I think, the goal there. I actually think there's two
Mm.
areas that should evoke that feeling. One is the bridge, and one is engineering. I think both of those
Mm.
areas, when you walk into them, you should feel like you're in the most important part of the ship, right? And even though they have changed the direction of the bridge sort of design for RSI ships with the Polaris and the Perseus, I still feel every time I walk onto the bridge of the Polaris that I'm in like the most important room of the ship. You know what I mean? I feel the same way when I'm down in engineering as well. Um, so the reason I point all this out, everybody, is if you're a fan of what's been shown of the galaxy so far, this is probably one of the biggest areas you can expect changes to. Just in terms of look and feel, it's still going to probably have the same layout, but it is going to look different, I think. Dillman
I
asks,
hope so.
is there not 4 seats in the bridge? There are. There's these 3 seats here, and then way up front here, you can barely see it. There
Hmm.
is another seat up here. Yeah. And we're expecting pilot up front, captain right behind him. Is that what you're thinking too?
Yeah, but what I meant earlier, you can walk even in front of the first of those two. There's a lot of space in the front that you can't see in that image here.
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
But I feel like we talked about bridges already. I think when the Polaris came out, you
yeah,
also said that same thing basically.
I
And
did.
I didn't like it too much because I felt that the Polaris was too open for a warship,
Hmm.
too much glass, too much visibility. On this one, I want that. And honestly,
Yeah.
from this concept and from everything I've remodeled, and I remodeled it very accurate to what was shown, the visibility on this one is pretty bad. If you look at the
Pretty bad.
exterior,
Yeah.
there's this metal beam going over the cockpit, and it
Hmm.
takes a lot of peripheral vision. I hope they fix that because this is a multi-role, somewhat civilian, somewhat exploration ship, and if there's one ship I want visibility, it's this one out of the RSI lineup.
Especially because with this ship, much like the Perseus, you lose all your bottom visibility,
Hmm.
right? Not that that is always so prevalent on ships, but you have seen that on ships like the Polaris and the Carrack and stuff. You get that, but with the Perseus and this ship and eventually the Arastra, you are losing that bottom visibility, which even sometimes when you're just seeing little holes of like bottom visibility, it does give you some sense of where the ground is on landings and stuff. So it's a little bit trickier with ships like this. So yeah, I mean, this is just part of the
But on
ship
this, you
features.
lose top and sides too, which is really
Right.
unnecessary.
Right. It would shock me if that top panel. I know what you're talking about. It's kind of like I forget what like it's almost like an overhang on the top of the canopy. I would be shocked if that was not glass in the final version,
Or just move back a bit.
or just move back
I
a
will
bit.
find
Yeah.
a way.
Yeah. And by the way, everyone, we will get to questions, and the question bot is running, and we've gotten a ton of questions. Matter of fact, let's hit a few questions here so we can tap a few of them off. Um, let's see. We'll go to another image here. Really cool image of 2 galaxies. Looks like they're in battle. I don't know why CIG did a battle image of them. Let's see here. Jen Tonic said, "Ask if we apply for partner yet." We did. Just waiting to hear back. Let's see here. Jen and Tonic says, "What RSI ship do you think gets queued up behind the Galaxy?" Well, I think that's assuming another a ship is queued up. But I mean, Trist, what would you say?
Mm,
There's not many
yeah.
options of ships we know about.
Well, the Arastra, but
Yeah,
I would guess they would take a break after this. But if they have people that still are not tired, then I guess the Arastra.
yeah, I would agree. I, before I said Galaxy and Arastra were going to be pinned and come back in like a year or two. CIG was going to focus on big consolidated outland ships, big Drake ships, and stuff like that. But I don't mind being wrong. And you know what? If CIG feels like they're in a good groove when they get done with the Galaxy and they feel like they can knock the Arastra off after that, it's
Mm.
possible. It's very possible. Um, Father of Disaster says, so this means we get refining next year by IAE, correct?
I don't think we need to get all modules with the Galaxy. We need at least 2 to make sense, but I
Yeah,
don't think we need all 3.
I would agree with that. And I would also agree with the idea that the Galaxy is not what convinces me that refining is coming sooner rather than later. What convinces me that refining is coming is crafting gameplay. We know we're getting crafting gameplay very, very soon. They said we were going to be testing crafting with FPS items very, very soon. Ships like the Clipper have released with very small crafting stations on board. I think what you're going to see, if I could put my speculation hat on for a minute, is and I've said this 2 years in a row now, so I probably will be wrong. But if I was speculating, I would say that the MISC ship that is coming next year will be the Expanse. It is a starter refinery ship. It's small. It's actually a pretty small
No.
little ship. It makes a hell of a lot of sense for that ship to go into production. So I could see that happening. And if you have crafting coming on board with refinery gameplay coming, two ships that could fit that role perfectly would be the Expanse on the solo level and the Galaxy refinery module on the multi-crew level. It's a perfect balance for that gameplay loop.
That's a lot of work for next year, though.
It is.
I thought they did the MISC ship, sorry, the hull ship, the B.
The B, yeah,
Why,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
do you know
You're
there's a
right.
second one?
You're right. Yep, we do have the B coming. That's right. It could be the B. Maybe that's the only MISC ship coming. I'm not sure, but you
Could be
know,
both, but if we definitely know that we get that one. So I don't
yeah,
know if the second one is confirmed.
you know, John Crew. I don't like to read into this more than some other people, but it is fun to sort of read into the things he says sometimes. John Crew
That's
did say that.
literally our job.
Yeah, yeah. John Crew did say that 2026 was going to be an expansive year for Star Citizen. Now that could have meant a lot of things, obviously, but he is the
Agreed.
ship guy. It'd be funny if that was the wink and the nod towards the Expanse. So we'll see. Another question from we just hit our new sub goal was just completed. Thank you very much, everybody. Again, we've had a ton of follows during this show, everybody. I usually call out the names, but you all know who you are. Robert JT, Ottermine, Major Offensive, Sethim, Sigmanauts, that's hard to say, Dark Unknown, Dust Storm, Hi Gwish, Hey Sam, thank you for those follows. I do appreciate it. Everyone on YouTube who subscribed to the channel, thumbs up. I really appreciate it, trying to push those numbers up. And really love that support, so thank you very much. Let's go to the next question here. We'll hit a few more questions and then get back on topic and then come back to the questions later. Jen Talk says we answered that one. Father Disaster says no, we answered that one too. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Hustlebone says, question, do you think CIG will actually do the Galaxy base building module, or did they just say that to make people happy at the time?
Well, they have to now.
They have to now. What I think the more important question is when do they do the base building module?
Yeah, right.
Here's my theory on that. And Trist, I would love to get your opinion on this. We are going to get the base building module for the Galaxy at some point, but I don't think it's coming when the Galaxy comes. And the reason is, or whatever base building comes, and the reason is because they want to have a reason to sell the Starlancer build. A ship that I think is mostly finished. What is your thoughts on that, Tris?
Agree completely.
Yeah.
They just to answer, follow back on that question, there was a controversy where they said they are not even sure if they want to do it at all because it's not working, and they never really said it, but they did, and so they doubled down and said we are going to do it, we don't know when. So agree with you, for selling it would make more sense to make the BLD one first, even though I think the Galaxy will not be as effective as the BLD, right? Because it's a modular ship. We talked about that a lot with X. I think they could even get both out at the same time if they made it somewhat better. But yeah, strategically, I would also hold that back after.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because that's important to know. For those of you curious about the base building module, and we're going to talk about the module of the ship here in just a second, but with the base building module, the Starlancer build, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, has 4 large drones in it for base building. My guess would be that the Galaxy will have 2 large drones for base building. Because it's modular, I think it'll have slightly less drones. Still large category drones, but it will carry 2 instead of the 4 that the Starlancer build carries. However, on the flip side to that, the Galaxy will have an interesting little benefit that the Starlancer build doesn't have, in that it's got that hangar and can carry a small snub ship. So when you do go down and you're building with your drones and stuff, you'll have that little runabout ship that you could kind of run and do some more scouting whilst things are happening. I know you can fly away when the drones are building. You can fly away in your base building ship, of course. I do know that, but it'll be kind of nice to just have that snub hangar to go do those things. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
So actually, let's talk about the drone, the modules real quick. I'm going to bring these up. So this first one is the cargo module, and I am going to play some of your videos in the background here in a minute, Tris. But what are your thoughts on the cargo module?
It is very boring.
I'm gonna I'm gonna bring up your video on it here because you did
Out
a
of the
video.
four, it's the most boring one.
Hmm.
I think the numbers are not that bad. It I don't 4, 8. It has 1632 SCU crates. I don't know the number, 500 something,
Yeah,
700 something,
something. I'm gonna look that exact number up right now. I'll look up that exact number. Take me just a moment.
512.
Yeah,
512
512.
SCU
Yep,
plus
yep,
plus the one in the back, plus the 4 in the back there.
yeah.
I guess space-wise, it is quite efficient. It is not that interesting. The top-mounted tractor
Everyone,
system
there's
looked quite
Tris.
interesting.
Yeah, everyone. I just put Trispone's channel in the chat again. If you haven't checked out his videos, he's got some really cool interior mock-ups of these ships that he does. He's doing one on the Ironclad now. I highly encourage you to go watch them. They're freaking awesome. But what you're seeing on your video on the stream right now is his mock-up of the interior cargo bay, and he's modeled that after the concept imagery COG has released. Okay, so go ahead, Tris. Sorry.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a bit
Yeah,
boring. It's a bit boring. But sorry, what were you saying about the tractor beam?
the tractor beam looked quite interesting. I animated that quite. I put a lot of effort into animating that because it's kind of like a top-mounted crane with slides. I
Mm-hmm.
think, yeah, you'll see it in that animation there in a second. I put a lot of effort into animating that, and later heard that they will scrap that because it's too complicated and stick with their normal rotating tractor beams, which is a shame. This would be the only interesting new thing on that thing. The only thing I have to add, though, is that the elevator is a problem for me because, again, later in that video, we'll see opening that and on the bottom end, getting crates in and out is very tedious, especially now that we have the Ironclad where you can
Yeah.
basically get all crates out at the same time. For this one, you can get out 2 crates if you're unlucky, 4 crates if you're lucky, but 4 crates is not a lot if you have 16, so loading and unloading this will take a significant amount of time compared to like even the C2 where you can load it from 2 sides.
Yeah.
Unless they widen the elevator and make the whole bottom an elevator like on the Connie. Some people suggested that, but I don't believe that's possible because the bottom of the Galaxy is not really designed for that and doesn't look like the shape would support that.
I would agree with that. And the fact, oh yeah, here's your crane idea here. I mean, the funny thing is, this is the way to do it. I mean, this is a great visualization here. This is how we should be doing cargo and stars. I've said multiple times that CIG needs to fix how when you're looking at a cargo box in the hollow model, or when you're moving a cargo box with the tractor beam and it's got it like hologrammed out where you're placing the box, the entire box should almost go with no collision model, because right now loading cargo, you just feel like you're beating the hell out of the cargo, you're beating the hell out of the ship. I'm just still
Mm-hmm.
not personally convinced that tractor beams, while I think important to moving cargo around just randomly when you're doing random movements, I do think there needs to be a little bit more of an orderly cargo
Mm-hmm.
moving mechanism in this game. And I still think it can be driven by tractor beams, but more stable tractor beams. I've often said, instead of tractor beams, maybe they're more like gravity fields where something locks onto the box and you can just fully manipulate it. It's not limited by the tractor beam size and essentially using rope tech. This literally just grabs the box and pull it up, almost like it's being grabbed by claws, but invisible claws, right? So it's just like this gravity
Mm-hmm.
field that manipulates the box. We need something stable that can move cargo quickly. And I see something like what you got here as being a very viable direction. It does disappoint me that CIG seems to be moving away from that.
I don't know where I heard that though. It just maybe that was never officially said. But
Yeah.
do you know where that's coming from?
What? No, but you know the funny thing is that these kind of cargo cranes, we've seen these in a lot of other concept ships that we haven't gotten yet either, and I would
Mm.
expect they're going to change in those ships as well. I'll name off a couple of those. One of them we talked about tonight, the Kraken, and the other one is the Manu Merchantman. Both of those ships have like cargo cranes that we've seen in their concept art. Those will undoubtedly be turned into like internal tractor beams, unfortunately.
In the end, everything turns into a beam.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, my problem with the beam isn't the fact that it's just, oh, it's our tractor beam. We just go on that. It's the fact that the tractor beams quite obviously use CIG's rope tech, right?
Mm.
Um, which is great in some situations and not great in other situations, right? Um, you know, the other issue with the tractor beams is the tighter the space you get in, the more like terrible they become. Right.
Mm.
So I like you said, you got a small space underneath with the lift to kind of put cargo on to bring it up into the Galaxy's cargo bay, but you also have, once you're in that cargo bay, you're kind of in this like smaller enclosed room. I just picture moving big 32 SCU boxes in there with tractor beams being kind of a mess.
Mm.
So also I see Fast Cart in
Yeah.
chat. Fast Cart, hope you're well, buddy. Um, Let's go on. So we talked a little bit about the cargo bay. I agree with you. Probably the more boring of the modules, but you know, obviously one that will get a lot of usage just because again, it can be used for general purpose stuff, not just cargo. Next cargo bay, though, I want to talk about is the medical module. Now, with this one, you mentioned something earlier, Tris, that I want you to expand upon. The medical wing, if you really kind of look at it here, while there are big changes that the Apollo underwent with its medical wings, originally the Apollo's medical modules did look a lot closer to this, and you suspect that the Galaxy's medical module will change accordingly, right, to be more what the Apollo is. Can you maybe expand on that a little bit and tell us a little bit more about this module, if you don't mind?
I don't know if they have to change it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they just changed the Apollo, so these two are a little bit different. All I know is that some of the assets, like the angle of the walls and the doors, I think those can be taken one to one to build two still very different medical rooms with a very same look.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they have to change this a lot. I think the layout of this already is a bit different than the Apollo because it is less symmetrical.
Mm-hmm.
And I currently wouldn't know what I would like to change because I think this is a pretty cool layout.
Well, you remember how
Um,
in the Apollo, its original beds were very similar to what we're seeing here, where they're sort of at these angles and they were just kind of laid out. And what we then saw later on was that CIG straightened them out and made the beds a little bit more integrated into the actual walls, especially the tier
mhm.
one beds, I think. I think that's something we could see translate over, which,
Yeah,
you know,
that integrating into the walls for sure. That this here is obviously because they just used the same model
right.
for the asset, and redoing the walls would be a lot of additional work. But the layout, the angle, I think my first guess was that they specifically did it different on the Apollo, so these two don't look the same. So
Mm,
maybe they keep it here to have two different ones,
yeah.
or align it to the Apollo because that is the new and better refined look. Now, could both work for me.
Yeah. And it should be said that the medical module on the Galaxy is able to do, um, it's got all the tier beds represented, tier one, tier two, and tier three. I think one of the
Mm.
most common questions I hear is this a better medical ship when you're using this module than the Apollo?
Mm.
And what would be your thoughts on that?
I have a diagram answering that some at the end of that video.
Okay.
What I said back then is pretty much what we said earlier. Is
Hmm.
this is more modular, and this will give you more options, but it will be
There we go.
weaker if you want to dedicate it to something.
Yeah.
I guess one frame ahead. Oh no, yeah,
There
there
we
you
go.
see it. So what you can see is that the Galaxy has all beds at the same time, and so it has more variety. but the Apollo can either have more of the high-end beds or more of the small beds.
Hmm.
It just won't have the mix, the ability to have all three at the same time as the Galaxy has. So as with I think everything, Galaxy gives you a bit of everything, but the Apollo will give you a more dedicated option to whatever level of medical you want to um, focus on.
Yeah. Lewis Tiger Fox on YouTube says Trishbone puts a lot of work into his estimations and mock-ups. He does this. He does his research. Luis, that is exactly why Trist is on right now. I totally agree with you. Um,
I
yeah,
appreciate that.
I mean the other side to this discussion too, and I think this could play a big factor in, especially into how some orgs, especially maybe medically focused orgs, run their operations. One nice thing about the RSI Galaxy Medical Module is we have that back
Oh, yeah.
hanger for something like a CAR or something to run out of. But I'm
Or maybe
assuming
two.
we have this hang or we have this elevator, right? For maybe an Ursa? An Ursa?
Yes, it fits in also.
Okay, cool. So this can
Also,
really
oh, that's
become
funny.
your medical
I
base of
have the also in my
operations.
video there.
Hmm.
I have the medical also in that video that was before it was announced. I just made
Oh, okay.
a
Oh,
mock-up
this
of
one
how it
here.
looked
Yeah.
like, and it looked pretty. This was before we knew a medical also was coming. There were rumors and stuff, but this was kind of
Yeah.
a lucky guess.
Yeah. I mean, it's so funny your walls here that you again modeled obviously to match that concept art. It's amazing how much they look like the Apollo like medical
Hmm.
suite. I mean, so
Yeah.
again, something you were saying earlier at the beginning of the show. A lot, again, I hear a lot of people talking about, well, how much of the Perseus is even going to be able to come into the galaxy? Well, you got to think of all the RSI ships, right? Even parts and pieces from the Meteor or whatever else other RSI ship they want to bring over. It's very easy to see that at least with the medical module, you can see where some of that influence is going to come from the Apollo. Very, very easy to see that. Um,
Yeah. And
I
something I
mean,
would add
yeah, go ahead.
that I noticed building the Ironclad, when people think about that, they always think of the big important stuff, but it's the smaller things like on the Ironclad, I just built one steel beam that is in the Caterpillar,
Hmm.
and I used that, I don't know, 10,000 times throughout the whole Ironclad.
Yeah,
And so it's the small assets that build these ships, and then just building one, like the big hangar walls in the galaxy that will be very specific to that ship. That will take some work, but the bulk of the ship is made of small, tiny assets that get repeated hundreds and hundreds of times. And these you won't notice even as much. And they could be from, yeah, as you said, from all other outside ships mixed.
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, so one thing I like to talk about when I talk about the medical module on this ship and future gameplay, talking, Star Citizen 1.0 is that, and let me go back to our image real quick of the module, is that if you're looking at ships as stepping stones, right? And CIG mentions this sometime. Charlie McAwesome, but I'm just going to point out his comment, says, man, what a good show. It's nice to listen to a great discussion between people who don't over dominate the conversation, can bounce ideas off each other. These guys continue to be two of my three favorite. Well, thank you very much, Charlie. We appreciate you, buddy. The When you're thinking about stepping stones, um, I do think the Galaxy fits a really nice sort of it occupies a really nice place in the medical gameplay profession, in that it's not so much that the Galaxy is an immediate benefit over the Apollo. I think there's some benefits, obviously, like Tris was saying, and then the Apollo's
Mhm.
got some interesting little benefits too. But you could look at, I do think it's accurate to say that the Galaxy is the step up in the medical profession simply because it can host other vehicles. So you get a little, so it goes from being just a medical ship to more of a medical hub or a medical center where other medical vehicles and ships can come and drop patients off and other kind of stuff if you were to proceed that way. We've obviously heard about that sort of gameplay in the future with things like the Endeavor Hope, which is on a whole other scale. But what I personally hope in the future is that there is a system with medical gameplay where if a medical ship, and maybe it has to be a certain medical ship, like a dedicated medical ship, like an Apollo or a Galaxy with a medical mod or something. But if you are running a ship like that, I'm hoping in the future that you can put out a beacon, some sort of special beacon that
Mhm.
essentially makes it to where if a player is incapacitated somewhere, even if they weren't in a medical ship, let's say that their imprint is at their landing zone or at their base or something, and it's a whole other system. I would love that if a medical ship is operating in that system, they can put out a beacon that will allow other people to, when they're incapacitated, transfer their beacon to or transfer their imprint to that medical ship that's in system and
Mhm.
respawn there. Now, the argument being, of course, that they're going to respawn without a ship or anything. The cool thing about ships like the Endeavor Hope and even this is let's say if you did have a C8X Pisces or something else in the back hangar, you could allow people to respawn for a fee. CIG's talked to us a little bit about that, and then use the runabout to run them back to where their ship is.
Mhm.
So you have that sort of ambulant or sort of taxi service, and I've talked to some medical focused players, and they every time they sort of pictured that loop, they're like, oh my God, I need a Galaxy Medical now. So I hope that's the future. I don't know if it will be, but I hope that's how CIG allows these larger dedicated medical ships to play the gameplay loop, the medical gameplay loop, but not just with their party and org members. You know what I mean? That they
Mhm.
can play it with the wider Star Citizen community, but through beacons offer that service. Um,
Yeah.
and I think CIG's hinted towards that. Even recently, with some of the medical stuff that came out, CIG went a little further and they talked about how some medical beds are going to be tied to location, some medical beds are going to be usable at certain times, et cetera, et cetera. So I think CIG is thinking of regeneration in a broader way that we just don't have in game yet, which is pretty exciting. So,
Yeah.
um,
I have
yeah,
one point for the Apollo though, one plus point maybe,
yeah,
even if it's just lore-wise. Um, this is very tanky. It's very big, wide ship, and the
hmm
Apollo looks a lot sleeker. So maybe if you're thinking about a classical ambulance, you would maybe prefer the Apollo. And I know that a lot of medical players want to play some kind of trauma team, cyberpunk trauma team version.
yeah,
And for that, I guess I would pick an Apollo just visually because it's sleeker and faster and um, yeah, just more maneuverable.
yeah.
That point is a bit weakened by it's getting a lot bigger now. But originally, I thought this would be the more ambulance focused ship, and this is more like the home base
Yeah,
ship.
exactly. And to go into that size thing that Tris is talking about, the Apollo did grow to 64 meters. You can see it is a bigger ship now, obviously, but still quite a bit
It's yeah.
shorter than the Galaxy.
Mhm.
And that's not to say the Galaxy won't grow a little bit. It's very possible. We'll just have to see. Um, okay, I want to talk about the last module, and then I want to rapid fire some questions here. So the last module is um, the refinery module, which is obviously something we mentioned earlier, is a heavily industrial focused module. Obviously, this module, while refinery gameplay is something that seems a little intangible to players, I think right now, I think this will become super prominent in people's future gameplay just because of the importance refinery gameplay has in crafting and base building. I
Mhm.
think, matter of fact, on your ground bases, the bases you build on the surface of planets and moons and all that stuff, having a refinery on site is going to be one of the first things you probably build. Like probably within the first 5 buildings you build, is one of them is probably going
Mhm.
to be a refinery. So let's talk a little bit about the refinery. Trist, what's your thoughts on it? What information do you have on it? I'm going to play your video for
Okay.
that one too.
So first of all, generally, I would say whenever it comes to questions of all kinds, I'm not as much into numbers as you are. I
Yeah.
just visually build these modules and then think about the functionality afterwards. I'm more an artist than I'm a player, I always say.
hmm
And for this one specifically, this was my favorite module just visually because there's so much going on. There's so much pipes and reactors, and there's two platforms on the sides, elevated platforms where you go up a ladder, and then you have your terminals where you do all the refining stuff there. You can walk in between those reactors, also on elevated walkways. So very interesting module, just space wise. Visually very interesting, and then gameplay wise, we don't know too much about it. I don't have my numbers here because I did not. You just.
It's okay.
You should tell people. You just
Yeah,
called me
I
2
know.
hours
Sorry.
before the stream. I'm not prepared. I don't have my.
Yeah, and I
I don't
have
have my notes here. I
information
don't
up,
have nothing.
so I can quick react to some of this. But essentially, I will say that
But
just
from my
as
memory, let me try from memory.
yeah,
I think from memory we have 4 reactors
two
that are quite.
refinery reactors.
Damn it. 2. Okay, so it's you see these orange big tanks there. It's 4 of those, but 2 of those form 1 reactor.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's 2. Sorry, 2 reactors. But the point is that it has less reactors than the dedicated refinery ships, but they are quite big. So they said you can do fewer different jobs, but you can take quite big jobs compared to an. What did they compare to in the FAQ?
Oh,
Was it the Arastra?
I know they talked about the. I think they talked about. Oh man, what was it? I think they talked about the Arastra. Maybe they mentioned the Orion.
No,
No,
I don't think
I
the Orion.
forget.
I think it was the Arastra where they said this one
Okay.
has fewer jobs, but it can take bigger quantities at the same time. That
Okay.
was
Okay.
kind of their differentiation. So yeah, you have and those two have separate consoles there on the top, so that's pretty interesting. There's these things in the corners. I have no idea what that is. Maybe you can enlighten me.
Yeah, I'm not sure. The refinery module is not one I've experienced. It wouldn't shock me if it was some sort of like freight elevator, but again, I don't know why it would be going to the refinery module
Well,
area.
the
You know what I
freight
mean?
elevator's in the center. That is right
Well, that's true.
below.
Yeah, that's the
It's
main
right
kind
below
of
the
lift.
Drake
Yeah,
box there. That's I put that there for size. But this one has a smaller elevator than
yeah.
the other ones.
It could just be
And then, sorry, I'm not even sure. This isn't for this one. They did not specifically mention. So what you see there under the Drake refining mining box, there is something that looks like it has the same surface as the other elevators on the top-down drawings.
yeah.
But it was never mentioned that it is an elevator. So it could be a small elevator there, but yeah, we don't know.
It also could just be an area of the floor that maglocks the cargo or the resource
Right.
vessel so that it doesn't spill around while the ship is moving, of course. In terms of some of those little cubby holes, honestly, the sky's the limit. I mean, it could end up being something that we don't even know. Maybe CIG just partitions it out as something like an engineering area or something like that with either components, or it could be just an engineering terminal or fire extinguishers, or who knows what some of those areas could turn into. But it does have the ability to have, it does have storage for both raw and refined materials. Again, you've got to be able to load the raw materials in and then refine them, and then the refined materials have to be stored somewhere too. So obviously cargo for all of that, or storage for all that, I guess I should more properly say. And it says
There's
here,
also internal storage, though. They talked about invisible storage back then.
yeah. I wonder if that was referring to the buffer system. I don't know.
Probably.
Okay. It also says here on the note says, so while it can run fewer simultaneous refinery jobs, it can process much larger quantities per job and store them afterwards. So, again, those are the 3 modules here, everyone. We have the refinery module, the medical module, and the cargo module. Now, I do think we're getting all 3 of these modules when the ship launches. I agree with Tris that we don't have to have all 3. But I do think refinery gameplay is coming next year for ships, and I do think the module will come for it. At least that's what I'm currently thinking. Medical module, cargo module, definites.
Yeah.
Let's rapid fire a few questions here, Tris. Before I do that, real quick, everyone, just a reminder: you can get in on the. Let me grab that link real quick. If you want to get in on my Golem starter pack giveaway, we'll give that away this Tuesday. That is courtesy of CIG. So just follow the Gleam link I just put in the chat. There's a couple free ways to enter. It's a Golem starter pack with LTI. Courtesy of CIG will be giving that away. And then tonight, giving away a Downburst patch bundle. Comes with a really cool Corsair skin, the armor, and the gun. All you need to do to enter that if you're on Twitch is do !ticket to get a ticket to enter that. And if you're on YouTube, just go to the link pinned to the top of chat. That'll take you to my episode 3 of my new player guide. Just go to that video, leave a quick comment. It could be a single word, hello, how are you, whatever. And I'm going to pull a random comment from there, and I'll pull the Stream Elements winner from Twitch. We'll put you in the random wheel of names. We'll spin it, and that person will win the prize. That person will have 2 days to get a hold of me. If they don't, it'll go to the second place winner. Real quick, someone did mention there any word on the base building module. No, we don't know much about that one, right? We don't know much about that one. CIG will get back to us on that. We do know it's planned. They are going to honor that. I don't think that is coming when the ship launches, though. Okay. Let's rapid fire some questions because we've had a lot of questions come in. So we're going to rapid fire these. We're going to try not to get tangenty here. Let's see here. Did that one? Says here, George Smith says, question, do you think the manufacturing building module will be on sale at IAE? That one's for you, Twitch, or Trist.
Good. No.
Yep. Nope. I agree. Citizen Ninja says, do you think the Galaxy's manufacturing module will be limited to manufacturing and not necessarily do base building? I think CIG mentioned base building drones flying out of the bottom not fitting with their plans. I think it will have to do base building. And the reason is that that was part of the controversy that CIG was trying to right, was that it was included in the base building slide. So I do expect it to build bases.
In my mind, though, I'm not sure about that. In my mind, crafting and base building were never confirmed to be one module. I always saw them as two different modules.
I agree with that. I actually would go a step further, and I think they've all but confirmed that now with crafting machines being a dedicated machine. I see a module coming for this ship that just has crafting machines in it, integrated ones that are larger. So I 100% see that. And so in that regard, you could say there's probably 2 more planned modules at the very least for this ship.
Well, I would have said the base building is confirmed. The crafting was never confirmed.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they mentioned, I think you're right, because I think it was just listed as a manufacturing module, right, on the original page. Is that right?
Yeah, I think it was mentioned, but the reason we got so angry is that the base building one was specifically shown on a slide. The crafting one, if at all, was mentioned, not more.
Right. Because they say here on this one, it says others, and it just says manufacturing and other modules coming at a later date. And like you said, manufacturing could mean a couple things there. So we don't totally know. All right. Altzilla SC says, question, has there been Altzilla says, has there been a ship that was more tricky or harder to add to Fleet Viewer compared to other ships? If so, why? Probably the hardest ship to add to Fleet Viewer. It's probably a toss-up between 2 specific ships. One of them was definitely the Endeavor. The Endeavor model wasn't too bad. It did have to be fixed up a bit, but none of the modules existed anywhere for it in terms of models from CIG, so those all had to be modeled from scratch. So that took a while. But honestly, probably the most complicated ship to do for Fleet Viewer was probably the Crucible. And that has a lot to do with the fact that its hollow model is absolute hot garbage. It is completely unoptimized. It is kit bashed to hell. It's super old. It's never been updated in a subsequent IAE or Invictus event. Sometimes they'll update hollow models. It's just really old. It required a lot of work to even make it look halfway decent for Fleet Viewer. So good question. Citizen Ninja says, question, do you think the Galaxy's manufacturing module will be limited? Oh, nope, we got that one already. Sometimes the bot will duplicate some stuff here. Dillman94 says, question, I'll give this one to you, Trist. Dillman says, do you think the Galaxy will come with a generalist module? and because he says that no module seems odd. So essentially saying that if you don't buy it with one of those three modules, is the ship empty in that spot, or should it have a generalist module? And I imagine a generalist module would be like a single medical bed, a crafting station, sort of the stuff that Clipper
Mhm.
has.
So in the original FAQ, they specifically said that if you don't have a module equipped, there will be an empty room that you can still walk in and use to put stuff. I don't know what that means, because to
Oh,
me that
interesting.
sounds like a cargo module without a grid.
Without a
But
grid.
I'm not sure what they're doing. I thought of something like just doing a walkway in the middle, but make the sides unusable. But they specifically said you can, that the space is there and you can access it.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so I
Would
think a generalist module, first of all, I think a generalist option, if you have no module, I don't think so. I think that would absolutely cannibalize their module sales.
yeah.
If you have a bit of everything, a lot of people would say that's enough for me. Selling a generalist module would also cannibalize a bit, but I think if they sell all those single modules and then later have a generalist module that gives you a bit of everything, that's not the worst idea, to be honest. I didn't think about that, but
Do
would sell
they
for sure.
But do they need to have, when you talk about this space that we'll be able to walk in, and you know the interior probably a little better than pretty much everybody that's not a CIG dev, do they have to have some sort of walkable space simply to get back to the hangar, or does the hangar have a way to get there from the rest of the ship without going through the modular area?
You don't have to have one. There is
Okay.
an elevator on one side and a ladder on the other in the back.
Okay.
And in the front, there's also an elevator. So it would be a long walk around.
Yeah.
You don't need the connection, but they specifically said there's one.
Cool. Um, Siegfried says, again, we're going to move through some of these, everybody. Siegfried says, will the Galaxy get a building / construction model? Yes, it will. Or module? Yes, it will. Let's see here. Simon Wolf on YouTube says, what other modules might we see for the Galaxy, and will the Kraken Captain's mugs drop before Christmas? No, the Kraken Captain mugs will not drop before Christmas. I'm going to launch the store in January. The reason is because I'm still prepping some other merch that will be in January, but those are coming. And then we've sort of talked about other modules. So I think there could be, a crafting module, could be a base building module, obviously. Beyond that, that's quite a few modules for the ship already. So that's what I would say.
But they said more.
They'd say
They said
more,
there.
to be fair. What other modules would you say, Tris? If you had to
And
pick
one I
one,
always.
let's limit it to one. If you picked one more module for this.
Ugh. If I, can I say no? I want two.
Oh, you can have two. You can have two. You're the guest tonight, so you can have two.
Okay, so if the one I would want is a dedicated living quarter, like I know there are small rooms, but like for people that really want to live there, like a bigger, expansive living section doesn't make sense. No, that makes no sense. Forget that. That's a stupid one.
Would you say like
Personal
a
transport.
okay? So like maybe like a I could see even something like I really could see something like a luxury transport, something to compete with like the 600i
Mhm.
touring or something for sure.
Yeah, that was one on my list. And then the other one that I always thought about was a more military, or like a military one
Mm,
that is dedicated military. Obviously, because it is at the bottom, it has to be bottom facing. So either bombing, or what I always preferred, because we have so many bombers, um, guns on the bottom that are specifically for orbital bombardment. So I
yeah,
always thought about ships that sit in the orbit and then shoot onto the planet's surface, and we don't really have something that is dedicated to that. I'm not sure it
yeah,
makes the most of sense, but it would be fun, because this ship looks like a Star Destroyer. And I always said I like how it looks, but I think it looks terrible for the role it's supposed to be. And so I guess a
yeah,
military module would make a lot of sense visually.
yeah. I could see that. I could see that. That'd be cool. Um, Hustlebone says, I'll leave this one to you as well, Trist, because it's talking about scale here. He said, Hustlebone says, question, how much do you think the Galaxy will grow slash change in production? Tristpone's model shows plenty of room for improvements. I think he just means
Mm.
there's plenty of room for other things to go in. So.
I guess the real answer is we don't know. I know that I think the module section is really efficient.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they want to make it bigger because 512 SCU is really fitting for the role of the ship.
Yeah, it's like
A lot of
C2
people want,
level cargo. I mean, it's or maybe a little less. That's like Caterpillar level
yeah,
cargo. So yeah,
but also, as I said earlier, less efficient, less accessible. So I guess that is, if you go higher, then it becomes unbalanced. So I don't see that getting bigger. I think people want to get the hangar bigger. They want to use this as a small carrier, and this is only supposed to fit really small ships. So it's not fitting an Aurora. It's not fitting a Gladius.
yeah,
This is just for tiny ones, and I think this is where most people want to see it grow. I don't think it will, though. I think this is really designed for small ships, and I don't think it needs to grow.
yeah.
They usually tend to, but for this one specifically, if this can also carry, I don't know, an F8 or something, uh, doesn't really make sense to me. I know why people want it, but I don't think it makes sense for this concept.
Yeah, I agree with that. Real quick, everyone, I missed this earlier. Texas Horny Toad, I'm so sorry I missed this, buddy. Texas Horny Toad gifted a tier 1 sub to Dex Knight 528. Thank you very much for gifting that tier 1 sub. Texas, hope you're doing well, buddy. Had a lot of follows, everybody. Really appreciate everyone hitting that follow button and hitting the subscribe button over on YouTube. Again, do appreciate that. Been trying to grow the channel, and it's been really successful. Thanks to all of you. Alex, Butalin, HTS, FlyXor, Matterbeast, Lord Dunnett, Celine, sorry, Cisco, Hoschi, Falcon Games, Scrubber McJagus. God, I hope I said that right. Ghost Actual, thank you for those follows. Appreciate it. And everyone on YouTube, thank you for the subscribes. I don't have an alert that shows me the names of all the subscribes, but thank you very, very much for that. Let's hit a few more questions here. This, I think, is another Trist question. From VG says, Ironclad for Trispone. Does it seem reasonable that with all the indie snubs aboard Salvation, Gollum, and Gollum Ox, would there still be 1,000 plus SCU remaining in storage? So I think he's essentially saying that, is it reasonable to assume that with the increase in storage for the Ironclads, will you be able to get like a snub ship or one of those small industrial starters in there and still be able to have 1,000 plus SCU of cargo?
1,000 plus, maybe not the full one though. There is what we don't have answers for that.
Mm-hmm.
What we speculated is that they added most of the additional cargo space on top, so we get a third crate on top. And that would mean that in the back there still are those few meters where you can park something.
Yeah.
For sure an Ox or for sure a Golem. Would be a bit tricky because you would have to fly a bit under the bridge or the ceiling, but definitely manageable space-wise, I think. But this would mean you wouldn't need to decrease your capacity that much.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
we don't know that.
I think, based off what CIG said too about that increased cargo capacity, I think we're all being cautious and thinking that it's just some interior elements, like they said, like the ladders and stuff that changed that allowed the increase in cargo. There's still a little
Mm.
part of me that thinks the ship may have grown a tad, and I don't mean a lot, but I think like maybe even like, I don't know, 10 meters or something. I don't know what the limit is on the large hangars, a size 5 hangars or whatever. But I think there's still a little room that it had to grow, not much, before it has to go up into like the capital size hangars. But if it was truly just removing some ladders that caused a 600, 700 SCU increase in the main ironclad, then oh my God, those ladders are really taking up. Well, and the pathways to get to those ladders were really taking up a lot of room.
No,
So
I don't think think so. There's only 2 ladders they can be talking about, and I don't think they make up that much space.
Yeah,
I
I agree.
the numbers, if you follow the numbers, I think it's a third row on top because that's why it's so significant, and then some more boxes in the front. That's where the ladders were in the way. And also, I think lengthwise, it will be. I don't think they can make it any longer fitting on the landing pad with the ramp in the front. I think even 10 meters is too much to get it on the landing pad. You would
Yep.
know that better than me.
Possibly. So I'm going to the top view and hanger link right now, which does allow us to put,
Yeah.
this is the large pad here with the current ironclad size, which you can see it's already kind of within limits. To go any more than this, you'd have to go up to a capital pad, which obviously is much bigger. But you know, yeah. So.
And also, if there is one thing in the hangar that I felt is that it would benefit from it a tiny bit more height, because the width is okay, the length is great, but the height is problematic for the Vulture and for a lot of other ships. It's always the height that is a problem.
Yeah.
So just like 1 or 2 meters more height would not change their footprint on the landing platform at all. It was not even that high to begin with compared to other ships, I guess.
Yeah.
And it gives you so much more space for so much more options for ships. And I guess that's what most people are even more excited about than a few more boxes.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And Socially Confused says, isn't the Carrack the largest ship that fits in the large hangar? Yeah, it's currently the largest. And I think the Carrack is 125, 126 meters long. So technically the Ironclad could grow maybe 5 meters. That's why I said it could maybe grow a tiny bit, but I think that's, you're talking actually, more.
The Carrack does not have the ramp right in the front, right?
That's true. That's true. It goes down, but I don't think it extends past the ship.
Tanks in the front, and so I guess you would have, that's the same with the Galaxy. That is why that can't grow that much, because the ramp comes out quite a bit towards the end, quite a bit more than the Ironclad even, and so they can't grow as much if you consider that other tanks have to fit into onto that.
Steammaster, thank you for that follow and that subscription. Really appreciate that. 230 on Twitch, almost 300 on YouTube. Thank you, everybody. Having a great chat with Trist here.
Sorry, I just said something stupid. I said the ramp at the Galaxy can't extend any further. There is no ramp at the Galaxy at the back. Some people want one. Some people said there needs to be one. There isn't one, but I mocked one up in one of the videos and explained that it's not possible lengthwise because of just that. But there's no ramp on the Galaxy. Not confirmed. No, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. So, the Ironclad, it'll be interesting to see what changes it undergoes, once it goes, or once we see it again. Again, it's been a while since we've seen it. I think it was the Ironclad is Rad videos the last time, besides the sneak peek images, is the last time we get to see the ship, exterior design wise and stuff. So we haven't, I would imagine that over the next few months, as we get closer to DefenseCon, they'll start peeling back the curtain, or peeling back the hidden layers, and start revealing more of this ship and some of its details and stuff. So
there was one tiny nitpicky detail that I noticed in the original concept. If you had one of the images looking inside the cargo bay,
yeah, I think
there was basically nothing.
I can pull that up while you're talking. Yeah.
Okay, there is basically nothing stopping you from having stuff hanging over those catwalks in the hangars to the sides. So there were some ships that are a bit wide, but you can get them on top of these catwalks there.
Yeah.
And if you looked at the image of the Aurora, where it was later confirmed, but I said, we two said instantly that's the Ironclad hangar, and it was later confirmed it was. In that, you could see that they added steel beams going from bottom to top, and that basically separates those catwalks a bit more, and you can't put stuff hanging over that anymore, at least not on the full length. So
yeah,
I guess they are enforcing the volume that they mentioned a bit more.
Do you still think that the tractor beams will be on these little these rails that slide or look like they slide?
No,
No. Yeah,
I don't
I
think so.
agree. I don't think that'll be the case. I think you're going to have one mounted here and one mounted up here, and they're just going to work opposite corners. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Little bit of the ironclad there. Let's keep going on some questions here. Still have quite a few. Citizen Ninja says, question, can we use gamepad controller with VR headset for Star Citizen? I don't know. Do you know that, Trist?
Can we use what?
A
Sorry.
gamepad, like a Xbox controller or something.
Why not?
Yeah, I would assume you can. I've seen people use it for Star Citizen regularly, so I would assume you could use
Yeah,
it
yeah.
with VR.
So
Yeah,
basically, the VR functionality of Star Citizen does not care about your input. It's the very same. It
yeah,
basically is just as if you would have a different monitor.
yeah,
Your inputs will stay exactly the same,
yeah. When I did it,
and
I
so
was still using
you
keyboard
can't use.
mouse. Yeah,
Yeah, and I also use the joystick, which is pretty great. But you can't use any motion control or anything. You have to use your normal inputs, and if you normally play with the gamepad, that won't care about that.
yeah,
If you normally play with the HOTAS, that will also still work. It doesn't change anything about the inputs. It's just a different display.
yeah. Honey Spring Homestead says, question, any idea what CIG is hoping to accomplish by disabling more than 2 shields? I'll answer that a little bit. I am going to have a show pretty soon on some of these changes that CIG has been doing recently. We won't go into that much here. The only thing I will say is a lot is changing very fast and very rapidly with a lot of the stuff CIG is doing with shields, weapons and damage and armor pools, health pools, all that kind of stuff. I just see a great video just today. I'll have to get that link for you. But we are going to circle back around to that at some point. It's just all changing so rapidly right now that I haven't wanted to go deep dive it. Guardian Templar says, do you think the modules will take away too much from the ship's general usability? Thinking about the Carrack, it alternatively does a bit of all of what a single module can do. So essentially, you're just saying that will those modules kind of turn the ship into from a general purpose ship into more of a niche ship? And I my answer to that would be that's the purpose of the modules, is that you are sort of focusing in on one thing while getting a few smaller benefits, but they that's the big difference between something like this and some of their older modular concepts like the Caterpillar, where they thought, oh, you can plug 5 modules into the thing, it can be anything and everything you want it to be. I see a CIG
Yeah.
moving away from that and moving to modules where you are specifically focusing in on 1 or 2 gameplay loops. um
Okay.
yeah. Let's see here. Couple more rapid fires here. Stand by, everybody. Starshifter says, question, which VR headset would you recommend? Any recommends, Trist?
VR headset?
Yeah.
I can't recommend anything. We both played with the Quest 3, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I did a Quest 3.
So the Quest 3 is obviously probably the cheapest headset on the market, but is also one that is completely sold under value because Meta wants to push those stupid Facebook things.
Yeah.
If you want a cheap headset, the Quest 3 is really, really good for its price. And I had a lot of fun with it because you can also play great other games without a computer even.
Yep.
On Star Citizen specifically, though, I felt for the first time in VR that I would benefit from a higher resolution, and I have not tried a higher resolution headset, and I don't know if my computer could handle it, but it was the first game where I thought, oh, this might be the game that has the textures for that. I would say if you want to spend not too much money, Quest 3 is a good alternative, and also the cable, if you want to play with the cable, doesn't bother you on this game too much. And also, that's something I saw a lot of people commenting that this will be so much better on the Steam frame. And I'm looking forward to the Steam frame myself because it has specifically very, very great cable-less transmission.
Yeah.
And also because it has this eye tracking and more importantly, render. It renders and even more interestingly, it gives different bandwidth to the parts in the image that are important. So
That you're focused on,
it's
right?
but that is more important for the streaming of the wireless streaming. So it's nothing that you will see get better. If anything, it will be worse in places that you don't notice, but the image will not get better by that. It will be great for finally playing without a cable in good quality. It will be great for. It can also play standalone, but it will visually. I don't think it might be much better than a Quest 3 because it has a lower resolution than a Quest 3. It still has the same pancake lenses. It has no OLEDs. So I'm looking forward to the Valve one, but visually it will not be the greatest one out there, I assume. And a lot of the plus sides of that are not really that important for Star Citizen specifically.
Yeah, I think that's a
But
great point.
I will dive deeper into that. I want to try a few higher res options myself now.
Yeah, I'm starting to talk to people that have done some VR, some playing Star Citizen VR over different headsets to sort of get their feedback on it. So that's something that would be interesting to cover. And I think you're going to see a lot of creators talk more and more about it, everyone, because it's the hot topic right now. I'm actually curious if CIG even realized it would be such a hot topic right now. So real quick here, Rabbit says, will Galaxy lean more into RSI industrial styling or civilian? Could it be a blend? I think you're seeing the design of it. CIG's shown that. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be is it's going to be very Perseus-like, with the exception of there's going to be like little accoutrements and lighting things done in it to make it feel a little bit more civilian than even the Perseus. I don't know if this is the ship where CIG is going to really lean into the industrial styling of RSI, but we could see hints. Would you agree with that?
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Especially because we are talking about reusing assets.
Yeah.
But what I would hope is that you have the top floor, the top deck, be very commercial and very what the word you just used?
Like a little bit more civilian focused or
civilian. Sorry. Yeah. It's late here. So a civilian top deck and an industrial bottom deck with very different lighting and also very different feel to it. That is what I would look forward to. What I would like to see.
I agree.
Especially the front section could look very industrial. On the bottom, we'll see. But honestly, the key art does not give that away.
Yeah. Yep. The Super Shoe says concept art didn't have bathrooms in it. Will each room get its own bathroom, or will they add a crew bathroom in a separate room?
Oh, no. The concept has.
Did the concept have bathrooms? Yeah. Okay.
Every room has its own bathroom. It's in there. It's very small, but it's more like these shower toilet combos. But it's in the concept.
Yeah, I don't have the cutaway. There's a cutaway picture of it, but I don't know where those cutaways are. I thought they were on here. But yeah, they'll. I think I saw that too. Okay, what else we got here? A couple more questions, everybody. There's a ton. We won't be able to get to all of them tonight because we do have to do the giveaway here in just a minute, but we'll capture a few more here. I'll just cherry pick some. Rabbit SC says, question a little off topic, but could we see Drake DefenseCon in Nix next year as a separate sales event? I would think yes. I don't know about Nix, but because I don't know if there's an area in Nix to have a big convention. That doesn't require a whole bunch of new work. But what I am expecting is DefenseCon to be a bigger marketing event this year than it has been in years past. Anything you want to add on that, or should I go to the next question?
I would just love to see it in Nix. It would be a great idea.
Yeah.
Not the best for performance, maybe, but great differentiating the two.
Yeah. Let's see here. Let me grab another question here. Seotenin says, question, will the Salvation fit in the shuttle bay of the Galaxy? So that you could have the two, I guess, out for refinery and salvage operations. I would assume it does.
I have not. A lot of people asked me to try it. I will try it next weekend. I promise you that, and I will show it. I think it could even fit two, but I can't confirm that yet. But one for sure.
Yeah, I mean, one thing we can do here, just as a quick thing, is if I
Mhm.
can learn how to type here, is you can see everybody that the Salvation and the C8X, a ship we know can fit in the back of the Galaxy. They're about the same size. Hell, the Salvation's even a little smaller. So easy
Yeah,
answer is yes. As Tris was saying, though, maybe two. Just have to see.
and yeah, I was managed to ram two Pisces in there. The small wings are a bit of a problem, so two Salvations might be even more likely.
Yeah, yeah, I'd agree with that. Um, let's see here. Some of these questions we got already, and again, I won't be able to get to everyone's question. You all had great questions, by the way. I always get surprised at how many questions come in. Sorry about that. I'm going to do a show very soon, by the way, that is all questions. It's going to be a big ask me anything sort of thing. Um, let's see here. Let me find a couple. I'll do two more questions. Um, A Dragon, I'm going to focus on questions that are Galaxy specific since we're wrapping up this particular episode here. Here's one. A Dragon 911 says, question: will the modules only be equipped at a place like Cousin Crow's, or can they be equipped at any hangar that fits the ship? I think it'll be just like you do on any other modular ship. You'll do it through your ASOP terminal, and the module just has to be in that location, right?
Yeah, Cousin Crow was they talked about that way in the past before modules were a thing.
Yeah,
I was kind of hoping that they would introduce that at some point because I think the current just getting it from the menu is very boring.
I do too.
But currently, I have not heard of anything changing that in the short term.
Yeah, I do too. The only thing we haven't seen, everybody, because the modules we can do that, but the and you know the Idris kits, those are sort of being treated like just weapon switch outs. The only other ship that we haven't seen that's not either one of those is the Kraken Privateer kit or the conversion back and forth between Kraken and Kraken Privateer. That kind of sits in a weird place that we've always been told you're going to have to take it to sort of a shipyard to do. That one's a bit of an unknown right now. All right, we'll take one more question here. Then we're going to do a giveaway. Well, actually, one joke question and one real question. The joke question is Sandgroper says, will the galaxy be found on Orion's belt? Very, very clever, Sandgroper. I know where that reference is from. That is from the Men in Black movie. Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Even I got that.
Yeah, even Tris got that one, so you're good. Okay, let's see here. Here's the last question we're gonna end on. Okay, and then we'll do the giveaway. MT Stunner over on Twitch says, question, the real question: does the galaxy mean the return of Jax McCleary to IAE? Trist, what do you think?
I wish.
Do you think we're not
I
seeing
wish.
Jax? What do you think we're not seeing Jax come back? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. I thought they already kind of confirmed it with the episode about the voice actor and him being there in the last one.
Yeah,
But honestly, this last guest entry of him, I felt it was a bit disappointing for me. He was there, but it was not the content we wanted. I
yeah.
don't like the whole he is annoying and people are uh, don't want to see him anymore. I think his shows were great and they were a lot of fun, and I want them
I
back.
loved him.
So
Yeah, I
yeah.
loved him. Um, real quick, everyone, before we do our giveaway here, obviously, it's been awesome to have you on, Trist. I'm going to go ahead and post your YouTube channel again here. For those of you that have not checked out Trist's channel, hopefully you've enjoyed having him on here. Make sure you go to his YouTube channel, follow, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. Give him that support. Do really appreciate it. Want to shout out the show sponsors once again as well. Obviously, Icon City. They've been a long time StarJump supporter and sponsor. So I want to give James over there a big shout out. Icon City does all kinds of icon packs for games, Star Citizen included. I am going to get back to doing Icon City icon pack giveaways. I do have one I'm able to give away every month, so we're going to get back to that. I don't know why I haven't. So we're going to do that. We're going to get back to it. They do some really, really cool stuff. If you've never bought a Stream Deck because you thought they were just for streaming, you can use them for other things. You can use them as just like a big MFD panel for your ships in Star Citizen. You do not have to use them for streaming. And Icon City has all the icon packs for that. Make sure you go to their website, use the code STARJUMP to get a discount there. I think it's a 20% discount. So anyways, or it's 10%. No, I think it's 20%. Go there. There's the link. Use that. Also, do not forget to go over to the new show sponsor and be doing a bigger deep dive on this. Pigeon Spaceport. Here's the link you can go to where you can use the code STARJUMP. They do really cool ABS injected models of the RSI Scorpius. More ships to come. You can get it in 3 different paint liveries, which is really, really cool. They're an official CIG partner. Very important. They're official CIG partner, so this is the real deal. Their stuff is pretty awesome. Go deep dive their website if you want. They got some really nice Scorpius models, the wings actuate and all that kind of cool stuff. Again, they got duo packs. They can pick them in multiple liveries, all that kind of good stuff. And they've been super nice to deal with in regards to the partnership. They are going to send out one of the models. I'll do an on-stream review of it and then maybe a giveaway or something for all of you. So I am working with them on that. But Pigeon Spaceport, make sure you go to that link, use the code STARJUMP, get in on that. Okay. Appreciate my show sponsors, Icon City and Pigeon Spaceport. Absolutely awesome so far to deal with them and really appreciate their patience and help with things. Okay, we're going to do the giveaway now. This is for the Downburst Patch Bundle. Here's the deal. If you win, you have to contact me on Discord. You have to whisper me on Discord or friend request me, StarJump_Grim. I'll verify you. You have 2 days to contact me. If you don't contact me in 2 days, it's going to the second place winner. Okay, that's just the way I do it. 2 days, 48 hours. Okay, so here, because that's what I've determined. That's how long it takes people to sometimes to watch my streams if you didn't catch it live. Okay, so here's how we're going to do it. For those of you that were on YouTube and went to the YouTube link, you just had to leave a comment here on this YouTube video here, my part 3 of my new player guide, starting the game. We're going to go into advanced options here. We're going to do an after date. We'll do the stream start time for today. It was the 14th at 6 p.m. is when we started this stream. Okay, so it'll pull any comment from 6 p.m. onward. So just the comments that started during this show. Okay, so good luck. We're going to do that giveaway here in 3, 2, 1. Picking a random comment now. 11 Bravo. 11 Bravo. Comment was left 34 minutes ago. 11 Bravo. Congratulations. You are on the Wheel of Names. 11 Bravo. Don't know if you're in chat still, but congratulations. You are now a runner-up or a semifinalist. That's the right word. Semifinalist. You go into the random Wheel of Names. We're going to go to stream elements here. We have 1,495 tickets purchased with a total of 179 entrants. We're going to give it a spin here in 5 seconds. Or not a spin. We're going to close the giveaway in 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Giveaway is closed. We're going to draw a winner now. And scroll to the bottom. And there is our winner, Spike 6K. Spike 6K, congratulations. You are a semifinalist, and you are going into the Wheel of Names too. We're going to take both of your names and duplicate them to make the wheel a little bit more colorful and interesting, right? There we go. And we're now going to spin the wheel. The winner will win the Downburst Patch Bundle. You have 2 days to contact me. If you don't contact me in 2 days, it's going to go to the second place winner on here, the person that didn't win. Okay, so here we go. We're going to spin in 3, 2, and 1. Oh, and it is Spike 6K. Spike 6K. Are you in chat? I think you are. Spike 6K. Congratulations. Let's see. Yep, Spike 6K is in a chat. Congrats. Let's let me Spike 6K, you can whisper me on Twitch or you can DM me on Discord, okay? Spike, and I'll send you that Downburst Patch Bundle. Congratulations. Again, you can whisper me on Twitch or you can DM me on Discord, okay? You can do one of the two. You get 48 hours. Okay. Real quick, Trist. Congratulations, by the way, Spike. Trist, tell everyone where they can find you, please.
Mainly on YouTube. I do some Twitter and stuff, but YouTube is definitely the important platform.
Yep. Tris does great videos and always has. When you first started making content, you were one of the very, very few channels I followed just because I loved your content. I loved your approach to how you discussed topics and speculation. You took kind of an analytical approach, and I really like that about your content. You do a lot of 3D modeling, which I like to do and used to do more of. But I like that you still do that and do an amazing job at it. So make sure everybody you go give him a follow or a subscription or whatever if you haven't already.
Actually, don't.
What's that?
Please don't.
Please don't. We're gonna raid. Go ahead.
Are you about to wrap it up?
Yeah, we're about to wrap it up. Do you have anything else to say?
Okay, so yeah, I do. First of all, I wanted to do some kind of a Christmas Luminala stream myself next weekend. Walking around the, I did it last game. I have the Galaxy and also the Ironclad set up in a way so I can walk around in it live. Not the same quality as my videos, but I did that last year. We did a live stream inside the Galaxy, and I could basically not only answer questions live, but also just walk there and show you. I wanted to do that next weekend, and we'll still, I have not announced it yet, but it will be sometime next weekend. And I will also hoping to combine that with my with reaching 10,000 subscribers, but it looks like that might be happen sooner, like today, tomorrow, or something. And so if you subscribe now, that would really destroy that, and that would be a big problem. Also, please don't unsubscribe
mess up
because
your stream schedule.
it would mess up everything. But unsubscribing now would also break my YouTube analytics. So maybe just subscribe next weekend.
Yeah, there you go, everybody.
And also join that stream. Same for you, Grim. If you want, you can join me next weekend if you have the time.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That will be super fun, just walking around those two ships and have some more questions answered.
Yeah, I'm always game for that. Always game for that.
And if there's one more thing that I can promote, as you said, I do those videos mostly that are very time consuming. So especially the Galaxy and the Ironclad, one video takes me months, so I can't do regular videos. I very early on focused a bit on Patreon and YouTube memberships, and try to find something for those people to really give something back. And I have a scene there where you can walk around the Galaxy and also the Ironclad in your web browser. So the Ironclad I made free now. A lot of people watched that it's free, but the Galaxy was an early gift to my subscribers, so I can't just throw that out. Yeah. You can just jump in there, switch the modules. It is not the same quality as my videos, obviously, because they render days, but you can just walk around the whole ship and try that out. If you're interested in that.
Real quick, Mr. Photog rated with 89 viewers. Mr. Photog, thank you very much, dude. Appreciate you. I actually was almost going to raid you, so that's kind of funny. Mr. Photog, thank you for bringing your community over here. I hope you had a great show. We got Trispone on tonight. We talked all things Galaxy. And, of course, we have hit the end of this episode. But I will say, for those of you that are here, if you haven't followed my channel yet, please give my channel a follow. Really appreciate it. I'm going to do a shout out here to our good buddy, Mr. Photog, for my viewers. Make sure you go over to his channel, give him a follow, give him some of that STARJUMP love. He brought his community over here. Obviously, we're about to raid, but Mr. Photog, I think hopefully you had a great stream. And I have the perfect person now that we can raid together, Mr. Photog, okay? I have the perfect group we're going to raid together. Tris, thanks for being on, buddy. Everyone, make sure you go over to Tris' channel. He's going to be doing some cool stuff maybe this week, like he said. I do have the perfect group we can raid, though, and we're going to do that. Oops, nope, I just messed this up already.
Thanks for having me, if I can throw that in.
It was great having you. We've been trying to do this for a while. We're on totally different sides of the world, so I know that can be hard sometimes. But Mr. Photog, again, thank you for that raid. Tris, thank you for being on today. Thank you for all the follows and subscriptions, everyone. You're all amazing. I love this community. Citizen Spooner's in chat. Citizen, hope you're well, buddy. I'm going to send you all over here on Twitch. I'm going to send you all over to one of my favorite groups in Star Citizen. They put on the big event in Las Vegas, Quantum Vegas, which had CIG devs at it and everything this year. I got to meet Sandy Roberts there. I'm sending you over to the Soul Citizens, one of my favorite groups. Make sure you give them some STARJUMP love. Everyone in chat, thank you very, very much. You're all amazing. Love you all. We're going to go ahead and start this raid. Those of you on YouTube, thanks for hanging out today, as you always do, always showing up. I really, really appreciate it. When you go over to Soul Citizens, make sure you say raid and give that star jump love. Really appreciate it. Everyone, have a fantastic night. Salute to you.